Uh, Good evening to all of you. I hope the day ends with for all of you with this session today. And I shall start it with yes, we had World Mental Health Day yesterday, and we had a lot of sessions where we were destigmatizing, busting some myths, and spreading awareness. And today we are here to make this more like a movement, like, okay, it's not just one day, we can do this every day, and rather we must pay attention to that. So, before we talk about the session, get into that, I would just want to understand the energy in the house. How is it like? So I have three colors for you, and if all of you can just mention those colors to me. I know it's just Tuesday, but also festive season is going on. So if you are in the red, if you resonate with color red, then you're pretty, like, if you feel like I'm exhausted, or I just don't want to do this, where has the weekend gone by, then you can choose red. Then we have colored green. If you resonate with feelings like, oh, let's do this, let's get this done, and I'm so excited, and on top of your energy levels, then it's green. And if you're somebody who's feeling okay, let's just go with the day, ye cut jaye, fir dekhi jayegi, so that's yellow. So which color do you resonate with right now? Please let's explode our chat box. Yellow, green, yellow, green. Okay, okay, okay. All right. Red and yellow. Okay, somebody says red and yellow. Oh, yellow, yellow, red. Ah, okay, okay, okay. All right. I think I was really red after yesterday's, but then the day ended. But today I'm also in the yellow zone because I'm like, okay, let's just get done with this day. Thank you. Loving the energy in the chat box, and I would appreciate if all of you, some of you could switch on your cameras and we can see each other and talk, because this session is only going to be fruitful when you look at me, when we talk about things, and when you clear your doubts, right? So that's going to be really helpful to each one of us. When you got to know about this session, you got to know about the topic of the session. What did you understand? What do you think we are going to do here? So I'm just going to present my screen, but I also want to understand from you all. What do you think? Why have we come here? What is going to happen? What does making well-being a priority for all um, try to talk about? Anybody? Any answers? I got no idea. Okay, break the taboo around mental health. Nice, Disha. That's very thoughtful. Anything else? Anything that you have an idea? Some conception which you have come to this session? Any? There's no right and wrong here. Please feel free. Okay. So we are going to talk about, how we are more vigilant about taking care of our physical health. We are more, more concerned if we are not feeling well physically. Let's say stomach ache for 3, 4 days or a week or two, and then we just go up to the doctor. Similarly, we are going to talk about some mental health related signs and symptoms which we can identify, which will help us understand if our mental health is being challenged or deteriorating or it's being hampered. So, the overall idea is to sensitize mental health and understand it as important as we do it for the physical health. So, today's session is called has very three different needs that you can say. First is to foster emotionally safe workplace, which means that when we hear about something that somebody is like, let's say they've broken a bone, or they've met with an accident, and we are more concerned. We take some load from their work, and we are more concerned of bringing food to them on days, or we check up on calls to them. So that's the same thing, but we are going to do with mental health, emotional well-being concerns as well. So somebody says, I'm not feeling myself past a month or so, and then you just emotionally safe it is to for them to say like that, and people won't judge them. People won't be like, "Arey, ye to isme to kuch bhi nahi hai. What have you done? What have you been through?" That's the environment we want to create. We want to increase awareness. We want to increase awareness about mental health issues, how the behavior changes, and how the change in behavior affects our day-to-day life. it could be very different for you, but it could be really different for somebody else. But that change in behavior from your own personality is what we are going to learn how to identify here. Then recognizing and managing the warning signs. Now, when I say change in behavior, these are also called warning signs. When, sudden drastic dramatic changes happen in your behavior with in relation to your day-to-day events of life. And of course, lastly, but very, very important is to encourage to reach out. What we are trying to build here is not to take therapy as the last resort, not to go to mental health professionals as last resort, but to cultivate an environment where therapy is as a preventative tool. You go for mental health hygiene as a preventative tool so that it does not get worst case scenarios, right? So we are going to begin with this intention. Our that is the need area. When you talk about workforce, that's the need area. We are managing work, we are managing kids, we are managing family, and then we are also managing finances. And on top of that, sometimes this all of this just gets too much on us. And on those days, it's very difficult to cope up or tolerate. That does not mean we are weak, or that does not also mean that we are incapable. That just means that no matter how many solutions we have applied, it's not happening. Now I'm tired. That's the kind of concept, what we are going through. So we have, for those days, we are going to help you understand about this concept called ICU. What do you think ICU is? What comes to your mind when I say ICU? Have you heard of this word ICU? What comes to your mind? I see. Oh, nice. Hospital bed, lol. Okay. No, Ajay, you're actually very right. There's it's no lol. You're actually right. Hospital, serious case. That's very, very important, Muthu. Yes, intensive care unit, emergency, seriousness, last, yeah, something heavy, something challenging, something very time pressing, right? That's what we have heard of when we say ICU. Somebody's in ICU or have to go to ICU. Here we are trying to build the concept where I'm saying I see you, like ISEEYOU. That means I value you, I am watching you, I care for you, and I can help you. That's what we are trying to, that's the intention which ICU program has here. Of course, it has this I see and you also has a different full form, which we will be talking about. But this is this is some nice, funny responses in the chat. I'm curious of it. That's very sweet, Agip. So th that is what we are going to talk about, where we say I stands for then that is me. C stands for connect, communicate, and U stands for understanding. That's what we mean by ICU. Identify, communicate, and connect, and U is understanding. Now, how can we do that? What will help us in doing that very smoothly? First is to identify. And how can we identify? When we gain more awareness, when we know where is the difference coming from, when we know what changes, what is there, how things are different next time, or how things are different today. Correct. So here I introduce you to the four well-being quadrants. Now, let me tell you a fact. Our mental health is dynamic. That is, it is not permanent. It changes with change in days. So it's continuously changing, evolving, becoming healthy, becoming unhealthy. And then also it is at a continuum. It can be on a spectrum. And these are those four quadrants that we all of us lie in at one single point of time. Today you could be lying in the first and then fourth or maybe second. I'm going to introduce you to these four well-being quadrants, and the first one is flourishing. But let me tell you what is mental health in general. Okay, now some of us get confused by mental health in response to mental health disorder, right? So, what is the difference between mental health, that is mental well-being, and psychological disorder or mental health illnesses? So our well-being is something which is day to day. which is me sleeping fine, me eating fine, my productivity levels are okay, my focus and attention span is good, optimal, I'm averagely motivated, I'm decently interested in things. Those are my well-being factors, right? That defines how am I feeling every day, and that's how the state of mind is. When we talk about psychological disorders, these are professionally diagnosed, clinically diagnosed disorders, either by psychiatrists or clinical psychologists. These people check you on various categories and dimensions to diagnose you over a period of time. So, psychological disorder and mental well-being or mental health in general, they are very two different things. And in combination of how they are affecting us in our day-to-day life, that is what brings us to the quadrant. Now let's look at the first quadrant. Let's say you have high well-being. High well-being means I am motivated, interested, enjoying life. I'm happy. I'm feeling energetic, and I'm doing my work as usual. And then also I have no clinically diagnosed psychological disorder. Let's say no clinical anxiety, no clinical depression, things like that. On when we are feeling this certain way, when my body and mind is in this certain quadrant, I am flourishing. All of us are enthusiastic. We are growing. We are in general we are killing it. Yeah. We are just ticking off the to-do list and we are feeling very happy about it. Then let's focus on the second quadrant. There's already a question about it. Why is second and third coded in the same color? I will answer you right here. So if you look at the second quadrant, we are saying we have no psychological disorder. That is, no professional or clinical psychologist, any mental health professional has diagnosed you with any clinical disorder. That is, multiple of disorders are there. None of them you have. But my day-to-day well-being is hampered. I am not feeling like waking up in the morning. And on days let's say there are 7 days, 6 working days in a week, or 5 working days in a week, 3 days it's a task for me to wake up and work. And my general well-being, I don't feel like eating, or I'm eating too much on those days. My general day-to-day daily functioning is being hampered by my moods, my feelings, my emotions. And something drastic maybe probably happening on those days is affecting us. We don't know. But my daily functioning is getting obstructed. But I also don't have any psychological disorder. When you are feeling this way, when we are in this quadrant, we are actually languishing, wherein we are just in the survival mode. We are either hook or by crook, we are just going by the day. And trust me, a larger population, when we talk about mental health, deterioration of mental health, a large population lies in this quadrant and the third quadrant. Where in the third quadrant, we have been diagnosed with a psychological disorder by, let's say, some clinician, and it's been some time, or we've been recently diagnosed. So it is a task to manage a psychological disorder. It is not just you talk about it, you do some things, and it gets resolved, or you are getting treated in a day or so. But that requires effort, and I'm putting those efforts continuously, and that is maintaining my well-being levels on daily basis. So daily basis, when I'm doing those small homework, small tasks, taking those medicines, and doing the day-to-day homework to keep up with with any illness for that matter, with my psychological illness, my well-being, my day-to-day well-being is getting better. But the task is to do the homework. The task is to go to the doctor. The task is to eat the medicine. So in this area also we are surviving. It's tough for us. It's hard for us. We are struggling to do this, but we are doing this. I am keeping the good part is I'm aware about my psychological disorder, and I'm keeping a check on my well-being, because of which. Fourth quadrant we have is crisis. How many of us have heard financial crisis? How many of us have heard of financial crisis, and what does that mean? What does that mean? Okay. I'm sure all of us have heard some financial crisis, lack of money, month end. I'm really liking the energy in the chat box. Financial crisis, physical health crisis. These are something which are like last last day areas wherein we don't know what to do. Similarly, there is mental health crisis where whatever solutions I could have applied, I have applied, but there is no change in result. No consequences have, altered. So when this is happening, we tend to say we have been diagnosed with a severe psychological disorder, let's say by a professional, and we have been struggling with it. But on day-to-day basis, I'm also unable to keep up with my well-being. That is affecting me so much that my well-being is also not in great state. it's it's rather always low, or I'm just fighting too hard to get it back. And that quadrant means that we are in mental health crisis. We are floundering, we are probably falling, trying to gain ourselves back. These are the four quadrants, and each one of these quadrants has different signs. Each one of these quadrants has very observable, noticeable signs which are very significant determiners of deteriorating mental health. Next up, you will help me understand if you can relate or understand these signs. So, moving on to the next slide, let's do the identifying of these signs. So, why don't first all of you tell me, with, of course, as per your own comfort zone, which color do you think you lie in? Green, yellow, orange, or red? You can see four different colored boxes. You can read the signs and symptoms, and you can first tell me which color box do you think you lie in. It resonates with you. It makes sense to you right now. Which color box is it? Of course, green. Okay. Green, 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 green. Nice. That's great. Okay, yellow. Okay, great. There is no right or wrong. These are just some things that you can relate to. Orange, yellow, orange. Okay, yellow. Great. Please keep the responses coming. Okay. Red also we have. Okay, yellow, red, orange. Oh, all the colors we have now. Okay. Love to say green, but yellow. Green, yellow. Okay. Now, I would encourage you all to identify which color belongs to which quadrant. Which color belongs to which quadrant? Let's just start with quadrant number one. Which color does quadrant number one belong to? Green, yellow, orange, red. Red to four. Yes, you're right, Saituran. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. I like the background white. Okay. Green to first. Yes, Asthar. Okay, green to first. Right. Okay. What about the second and third? I mean, I also know the first and fourth are really, really easy to identify. But what about second and third? What is second quadrant's color? Third is orange. Okay, Vivek, what makes you say that? Okay, Mihira says all one, two, three, four, green, yellow, orange, red. Okay. Anybody else who has a different answer? Anybody who thinks probably third is yellow and second is orange? Anybody on that stand? Okay. Now I'm just going to help you identify the difference. Why yellow is second and orange is third is because of the very prominent word written there, persistent. So if there is any psychological disorder, it has to be there for a persistent, continuous time. And it's only any mental health illness is diagnosable when those criteria are met of time, signs, symptoms, duration, and everything. So second is yellow when we are, of course, surviving, and third is orange when we are also surviving, struggling, but it's becoming too hard now. So now, when you have identified, what else can help you identify these signs in others as well as yourself? How will you identify? You know there is a change, but how will you identify? Is first of all, you focus at the non-verbals. Now, what are the non-verbal signs? Non-verbal signs are simply yes, Meera, of course. You can be in first, second, third, or fourth at different stages of life. That's what dynamic nature of mental health is. That's what the continuum makes. Yeah, not simultaneously, but we think we are doing it simultaneously. At one point, we are at just one quadrant, or in a mix of two, because of we are difficult. It's difficult to identify. So focusing on the non-verbals is just very small, changes in behavior when you identify. I can hear someone. Please, can you mute yourself? Thank you. No. Okay, so focusing on the non-verbals are those observable signs, like somebody is not bringing lunch suddenly to your work area. Or when I hear you guys, a lot of you were saying that you are working from home, completely remote, and some of us are working from office. So focusing on the non-verbals as maybe missing meetings. Somebody working from home is maybe not communicating that much in the meetings, right? The work quality is hampered. The work does not speak as loud as it used to. Some non-verbals, when they are doing a meeting, you used to see every time their cameras used to be on, and now they're just not on. They're continuously not keeping it on, and often often showing such behavior to the colleague, which does not show their original self. You always compare the person to their previous self, because things can be, some of us are introverts, some of us are extroverts. Your difference in your own personality is the criteria to identify the sign. I request Aisha to please mute. There's somebody who's talking, I can hear. Anyway, okay, I did it. Thank you. So, asking appropriate questions. What helps us identify is also asking appropriate questions. Now, when we started, somebody wrote, "I'm curious about you." Yes, that actually means I value you, and I value the challenge you are going through, not in aspect to make gossip or rumors, but in respect to understand your side, understand your situation, understand you, rather, to help you better, uh, to actually help you with this entire thing that you've been going through. And then you can also identify shifts in mood or an expression. That is, somebody, some people do not say certain things when they are feeling anything, but now they are probably snapping, probably getting irritated, probably there's a change in mood in terms like, just they were smiling right now and now they're just disinterested. Things like that. Their expressions have changed. They're the kind of work relationship you have with them has been changed, is altered. Fourth and foremost is behavior and performance, which we talked about, these signs that we talked about. There is a sudden shift in that. Now, when I say shift, you always not compare, rather, you always parallelly watch what the person was earlier and what the person is doing now. If you see a difference there and you see an alarming difference or identifying the signs which are probably not healthy, you can reach out to them. Their performance will be hampered, little obstructed. How? Why? Because let's say they were doing some task very joyfully and very quickly earlier, and they're now taking days to complete that, and it's not even that good. These are some very, very important ways in how we can identify those signs in people. And what will you do about them? So now we will do the ICU CASI, which is communicate and connect to them, which is also meaning to be open about. If you identify something, something bothersome in someone, you are willing to talk about it, and this person is also feeling comfortable to talk. So first and foremost is to listen actively. All of us have this human tendency to just give advice as soon as we listen the problem, right? I have to give you a solution because that's how I work. That is what I understand by problems, right? But here we just want you to listen actively, because sometimes a person just wants you to hear them rather than advise them or solve their problem, or rather, fight the battle for them. Because maybe they've applied all the solutions that they could have, and it's the thing still not changed, and now they just need somebody to support them when they are falling down, when they are at the most crucial parts of their life, feelings of this situation. So you listen actively to them, you value what they say, and you maintain that confidentiality. You build that trust. And when you are listening to them, you must be able to recognize their emotions. Emotions is the state that they are coming from, not focusing maximum about the situation or the outside, but them. How is this making them feel? Where is this coming? Like, what is making the situation get to them? How is it affecting them, and understanding their emotions also in respect to how we can help them later on. Correct. So recognizing their emotions, and sometimes it's also helpful when we help them recognize their emotions as well. So not focusing on the situation or the larger picture and the criteria of what we can do, how can we not do this or not do that. We will get to the solution part. First we need to understand how much is the person involved in this and how is it affecting them, right? Thirdly, we will ask meaningful questions. Like I was saying earlier, we will not ask questions that will only increase the weightage in the conversation, something which will be easily transferable to, start office rumors or gossip, or make them feel inferior or ashamed of what they are going through. But meaningful questions, again, which are focusing about them, about what have they done, what have they tried, how would they want someone to help them, and something which is talking about their well-being entirely. You asking meaningful questions about how things got bad and what can be done about it. Fourth, you must always specify the help you can offer. If somebody is going through financial crisis or, financial challenges, not all of us can help them financially, but you also want to help them. So you just make that area specific. Where can you help them? Somebody who is going through a big challenge in their life, which is big for them, but they just sometimes need somebody to talk to. Help them with a cup of coffee. Like ask them, would you like to go for lunch? How does your day look like? Would you like to take a walk? Specify the kind of help you can provide. Maybe if they are not getting food to the office, you can help them with by getting them a tiffin. But focus, looking at your picture where we are working from home, you can specify the help you can offer in terms of taking some work delegations. Probably they are going through a hard time, and you can take care of their some amount of work, which also is allowed in your bandwidth, in your in your spectrum. It's permitted, like you can do it easily. So specify the help you can offer rather than, if you're going through something, call me anytime, and then they call us and then we are not available, and then their trust breaks and we sometimes feel guilty about it. So let's specify what we can do about it. Okay, now we are going to move forward with one activity, and I would request all of you to start off with this case reading. I will do it for you. And I would encourage you all to switch on your cameras after I read the story, and we can discuss about how the questions I asked after it. So Rima has been working at her workplace for 2 years. She's a jolly person who likes to interact with people around her and takes active participation in the activities that take place at her office. She's an efficient and reliable employee of her office. During lunch breaks, she gets a variety of food as she likes to share meals and is a big foodie. Recently, for 2 months, Rima has been less interactive with her coworkers. She tries to avoid all those social activities that take place beyond work. In the last 2 months, she has taken around 10 leaves. She has been coming late to work every now and then. During lunch breaks, she leaves the office. When asked by her coworker, she mentioned she had forgotten her lunch. Off lately, she has been delaying her work. She tries to avoid taking any new projects. It's been quite a while that she has interacted with her peers. Did this story resonate, reach everyone? Was I clear? Did we all understand? Were we all able to understand this? Yes, no, maybe? Yeah, clear. Yes, good. Now I have two
Yes,
questions for
yes.
you. Thank you. Now I have two questions for you, and after that I'm going to stop presenting and we're going to have an open conversation about it. What are the signs you can identify in Rima? And if Rima was your coworker, two questions that you would ask her. Are we clear? What signs can you identify in Rima? And if Rima was your coworker, two questions that you would ask her. I'm opening my screen again for the case. If anyone else wants to just give it a read, and then I'm going to stop presenting, and of course, all of us will start talking about it. Okay? All right. Let's just discuss. Let's discuss what signs can you identify in Rima?
She's isolating herself,
Okay, right.
forgetting
What else?
the forgetting the daily chores like even having a breakfast, lunch, or dinner,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or not
Also
not
not.
or else not interested in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Distressed, disinterested. All right. What about the rest of you? What signs can you identify in Rima? Gossip about Rima made her like that. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. Maybe Rima got possessive. Okay. She's disturbed with her emotions, change in behavior, absenteeism. Okay.
She wants to experience
Worrying.
what she is feeling. Actually, the what she is feeling is holding her back from enjoying any other activity that comes her way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right. Okay, Disha. Due to his jolly behavior, someone misunderstood her and talked about her, which she didn't like, so she's alone. Okay, losing appetite. I'm just going to, reframe my question if we have understood this wrongly. I'm not asking you to tell me what happened with Rima.
Yeah,
I'm asking you to tell me what signs can you identify in Rima.
agree.
And a lot of assumptions I'm getting: depression, anxiety, no hike, boyfriend problem. We're not going to the root cause. Let Rima answer that. But I want you to identify the signs. I think Saurav, you were talking. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to address as well. That
Mm,
like we are here basically making an assumption that this must have happened, but actually the question is like more on the lines of what are the changes that we see in her personality. One being how actively she used to participate, and now she's not that active. How
mm,
engaged in conversations with she was with some people. So we know something is happening, but we just looking for the signs. And for the questions, I think I was gonna say, but I got a response as like I would was reading also the answers, and I was reading
mm,
someone also saying that if she's okay to talk about it, I think that should be our first question, because like
mm.
even if we're co-fellows, we shouldn't pry on whatever they are going through. We can ask them if they want to talk, and maybe some reassurance along the way could help them. So yeah.
Yes, definitely, definitely. The point is very well put. And I also read, I just don't remember the name, but somebody wrote, is it okay to talk? That's very, very important. What I also want you all to understand, if we are assuming their side of the story, we are just deviating from the problem. We are not focusing on the person or the situation or the signs and symptoms, right? And when we give them the leverage to decide what they want to tell, not tell, share, discuss, we actually make them feel more valuable instead of us poking them, instead of us forcing them, or instead of us assuming their situation and then judging. With just a few signs and symptoms, some of us did go to the extent of diagnosing them. So we have to refrain ourselves from doing so. We have to discourage this in our own selves, first and foremost. So, what two questions would you like to ask? Okay, one is that is it if she is okay to talk to, but what other question would you want to ask? Yes, I hope your company colleagues and your manager or somebody is reading for you, Ajay, because honestly, I can't do anything about your answer. Okay, did we have another question? Can somebody also ask another question? What would you want to ask Rima? What would you go and ask Rima? Let's say Rima
I
is your
think
employee, and what would you ask her?
I think one would be, is it okay to ask? And obviously the next would be based on whether if Rima wants to or not. If she wants to, I think second would be to, do you need me to just, I mean, as in, I think in personal relationships, from what I've observed, is sometimes people just need to talk and like not get your advice or something. So maybe the second question personally would be, do you just need to rant or like me to listen, or do you also want me to add my input or something like that? Something on the same lines, I think.
Yeah, I think Saurabh, Archana, and Mihira are on the same page wherein they say, "How can I help you?"
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very, 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 very valid and very, very woke of you guys to get this answer out loud. That how can I help you? Because sometimes we are assuming we can help them with this and that, but that's not what they need. They want something specific, and you can always give them, like again, I said, you put the ball in their court and then they decide. Yes, if there is anything that I can do, of course, definitely. These are some of the
Yeah.
statements or questions that you can
Correct.
ask
Yeah.
them. First, of course, would you,
Okay.
like to say, would you like to talk about it? Are you comfortable to sharing about it? Or uh, how can I help you? And sometimes it's something very basic. Would you like to have a cup of coffee or tea? Do you want to talk what's going on in your mind? What is your plan for the rest of your day? How does your day look like? I'm here in case you need anything. Sometimes it's just the reassurance that they get. It's okay if you don't want to share it with me. I would urge you to talk about it to someone you're comfortable. Again, sometimes all of us tend to believe that if I have asked, I must receive an answer, right? But we
Virtual. Yeah.
also have to respect the boundaries. We also have to
Correct.
respect what they are wanting to tell or not tell. I request people
क्या
to
ये
please
हमको भी दो.
mute themselves. Okay. So if it's okay for them to do that or not do that. So these are a few of examples which will help you communicate and connect with people around you, not just your colleagues, but people at your home in your friend circle. Now, let's also understand the U of what ICU stands for. The understanding will help you take the way forward. The understanding bit will help you, create a plan of what can be done next. What is the movement? How can this go further and not get more bad, right? So focusing on the feelings and thoughts. Whatever Rima tells you, whatever Rima responds you with, you're focusing on her feelings, her thoughts beyond the circumstances. The circumstances are very importantly playing a role in her feelings and emotions, but how is it affecting them is what our focus area has to be. Second is to paraphrase, communicating what we have understood that Rima has told to us, right? So it is something like if I tell you I like such an apple of such a taste, what do you understand by it and how do you interpret that? How do you give it back? That is very important. The summary of what I have understood of what you have communicated to me. Encourage them to seek help from appropriate sources. Sometimes when we identify the problem, we understand, okay, this person can help them or that person can help them. So you need to encourage them to reach to these resources. It will not always be a mental health professional. Sometimes it could be a lawyer, sometimes it will be a doctor, sometimes it will be something else. But you need to encourage them to take this resource and take this help, to reach out for this help, which probably you're helping with, or seek and ask for support. That's what you have to do to encourage them to move ahead, to help them understand their challenge and help you understand how you can go ahead with this. Now, next, I'm going to give you a response by Rima, and I would encourage you all to paraphrase it for me. That is, what have you understood? Uh, Communicate that with your own essence. Whatever I share, you need to communicate that with your own essence to me, right? So, are we ready? I'll just stop sharing. Yeah. So let's say you ask me, would you like to talk? What's going on your mind? Would you like to share? That's the most common question. Okay. And my response will be something, I'm tired and sick of my responsibility. My husband stays abroad and there is no help at home. My mom is unwell. My child doesn't go to school. I am just out of finances and there is no support for me. What am I supposed to do? I'm tired by now. So this is what Rima has responded. What would your paraphrasing be? आप क्या समझते हैं रीमा ने आपको क्या बताया? How would you understand it? Please probably type it down in the chat box or feel free to unmute yourselves and talk. If you want me to repeat her answer, please ask me to. She's trying to say that she's helpless. Okay. I think she has a lot on her plate, and in all this, she's not also not able to process all that. Okay. If you have to tell what Rima has told you, how will you tell it? What will you say to the second person? What have you understood? What are the key factors you will take out? She has personal issues. She's done with handling everything. Maybe she needs emotional support. Very nice. We are getting there. We are getting there. What else? Don't worry, Rima is gonna be fine. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Anybody else? What have you understood by Rima's response? Yeah, beautiful answer. Beautiful answer by I can't get your name. Yeah, Meenakshi. Needs some relaxed time. She's not able to handle the situation. Okay. Okay. Great. Great. Now let's understand what could have been different here. Okay, yes, Bima is also in that situation, that is feeling overwhelmed by the entire present scenario at her end, but also, her emotions are making her feel support. There is lack of support, wherein she's, of course, somebody said she's feeling helpless, emotional support, right? And she's tired, she's exhausted. That's what she has said 4 times in the summary. I am tired of all of this. I don't have this. I don't have help at home. My finances are exhausted. She is reaching out for help, but what her paraphrasing is like, she's lacking support. She feels helpless. She's looking for support, but she couldn't find it. Very beautifully written. She is feeling helpless, and she is also feeling drained. She's feeling overwhelmed, right? These are some uh, this, this is the interpretation that I have got from Rima's response to my question. So when we are paraphrasing, when we are understanding the situation, it's very important to focus on the emotional aspects rather than again diagnosing, assuming, or understanding what must have happened. Why is she here? Right? When I was early in my days of this profession, somebody told me right in the beginning, if you always focus upon the root cause, you are deviating from solution. So sometimes it's important to not talk about the root cause, but about the signs which have changed and how we can focus on getting a solution about it. So that is what understanding and paraphrasing is. Now I'm going to share back my screen and I'm going to help you understand how else can we understand the situation. These are some do's and don'ts. Of course, you use a reassuring tone. That is, yes, I hear you, I believe in you, I understand it is very difficult for you. And you do not ignore the warning signs. You're not like, oh, this is nothing. ये 2-4 दिन का बात है, कल ठीक हो जाएगा. Not those things. We do not neglect them, right? Listen with an open mind and without judgment. When you judge someone based on their feelings and their challenge, अरे ये तो कुछ भी नहीं है, मेरे साथ पता है ये हुआ था, मैंने फिर भी हिम्मत नहीं हारी. That is good. But our challenge is not comparable to anybody else's challenge. Maybe their challenge is big or small, and mine was big or small to me. So we don't know that, and we must discourage doing that, right? Don't make comments like, oh, don't worry, cheer up, you're fine, let's get a beer, let's get a drink together, let's go out for dinner. You can distract yourself. Let's not use those tones when such serious warning situation rises, because again we are deviating ourselves from the current crisis, or let's say struggle times, and we are actually giving some very these might be small time solutions, but also sometimes they look like solutions, but they're never the solutions. Then you encourage and insist them that they seek help and support. Of course, do not pressure them by saying stay busy in work, drown yourself with work, because research says until we sit with those feelings and acknowledge them, it's very difficult uh, to get management to these overwhelming feelings, right? Next is asking relevant questions, not asking questions which will give you weightage, not asking questions which will give you, subject to understand the situation, but relevant, meaningful, to the point, and some questions that make them feel lighter, right? Then you do not share gossip and spread rumors. Why? Because they have had shown trust in you when they told you this, and they it will be just more bothersome for them if they get to know that somebody they trusted has broken that trust. So please do not dishearten them. Try not to. Check in on them after once in a while. This is very important. If we cannot help at that situation, and if even if you're helping in very small chunks, very to you they look very small or big, but the bare minimum is to follow up with them, check in on them probably once a week or so. If they are taking the help, if that help is helping them, or if the kind of support that you or others must have provided, if that's working or not, and if they are getting any better, right? That's why you follow up. We go to doctors for follow up is whatever we are doing, is it helping or not? Lastly, something which we must not do is very, very important. We must not badger them with our own worry, our own advice, our own solutions, like I told in the beginning. If their problem is a problem to them, that is why they are feeling this certain way. So even if your problem is bigger than theirs to you, that does not help them. That makes probably will make them feel more overwhelmed after hearing your side as well. So do not badger them with all those kind of talk statements. And sometimes we also get very unconsciously probably sometimes we might get unconsciously mean about these statements. So let's also discourage those kind of behavior. See, when we began with this program, with this event, I told we are sensitizing it. Sensitizing in itself is mean that it is very nazuk, and we must understand the sensitivity of the situation, because we are very unconsciously doing certain things which are naturally engraved in our behavior, right? So moving on, I have something for you, which is also again very necessary. We cannot do ICU if I do not take care of myself. None of this ICU will help us or others if I am not keeping a check on my well-being. And these are few areas in which you can keep a check of your well-being. I would request you all to please take a screenshot, and whenever you're feeling a need of certain area, let's say professional care, so you can just read a new book, eat lunch regularly, if you're skipping meals often, record your wins. Go back, just check on your achievements. What was the last time you did something good? Look at your appreciation. Take breaks. Take necessary breaks. Sometimes, it takes a lot of courage to say, I'm off. I'm not doing this. It's off my hours, or I cannot do this right now. Probably extend the deadline. It takes a lot of courage to switch off and rest, right? You can pick your own domain out of these six areas and do something for your well-being. Take out those 30 minutes every day wherein you sit with yourself and do something that gives you joy, that releases some good hormones in you. So this brings us to an end, to the end of the session, and I would introduce you to your exclusive coupon codes for counseling services. So if any one of you is looking forward or interested in booking a counseling and a therapy session, You can book it for free at Mana Wellness. We have 40 plus professionals at our end. Your exclusive code is NOVA 2022, NOVA 22. And somebody you know, if they are seeking for help, they can use coupon code NOVA FNF. 22 FNF, the one that you can see on your screen. You can take a screenshot. I'm sure these coupons are being circulated to you, often in through your digital engagements. But I would encourage you if you could go ahead and book your own session with your own therapist. There is something given in the chat box. What Rima said is a part of her life, and she will have to live with it and can't quit. So what she needs is motivation to go ahead and encouragement. Is the great job she was doing earlier. Okay. Okay, I think again, I didn't get your name. Yeah, I think, of course, Nitin, you are correct on most part of it, but it would be really it would be really good if, we can understand to the pointers we have discussed and you can check your response again, right? So, yeah, all you employees have a 50% off on the counseling and coupon. Your code is NOVA 2020, your code is NOVA 22. I am going to request Aisha. Yes, she has already released the poll. So please go ahead and give your responses for this session. If you liked it, not liked it, and also please feel free to write subjective feedback in the chat box if you want to, so that we can get better. I can learn much more if I get good constructive feedback to do better next time. Thank you so much. You've been such great, enthusiastic audience. It was really nice to do this for you all. Can I request? Sorry.
Yes, in case if there is any questions or anything, please drop them in the chat box.
Yeah.
I think Kashish will be able to pick it up. We are almost towards the end of the session. But if anything more, I think the best is would be drop book a session with a therapist. But other than that, if you have anything small or that we could solve right away.
Yeah, I would. If you would want to ask any questions, please ask them in the chat box. Also, please switch on your camera so that we can take a final screenshot with all your faces who've attended. Would be really nice. Okay. Can we sign up with any email ID for booking a session? Yes, you can sign up with any email ID. That must do. Okay, anybody else who's wanting to switch on their camera on the count of three? Okay, MSG has asked a question. How to control anger at workplace or family? Yes, how to control anger? Of course, that's a very relevant question. I can give you a tip which you can apply, but I would also encourage you to, sometimes our anger is from a different emotion, connected from a different emotion, and we need to understand on the areas we are getting the most amount are angry, let's say. But something that you can do for now is you can identify things that make you angry, right? If you can identify things that make you angry, you actually get some warning signs. कि okay, somebody कोई मेरा बात नहीं सुन रहा है, मुझे गुस्सा चढ़ेगा ही चढ़ेगा. On those times, you just take a step back. क्योंकि हमें पता है ये वार्निंग साइन है, जैसे हम ट्रैफिक लाइट में देखते हैं एक रेड लाइट दिख रहा है, हमें दिख रहा है ये रेड लाइट है, and then we just take a step back. That this is my war zone and I must step down. This will help you not get angry as much as that particular situation will. Later, when you understand, when you tell yourself, okay, this made me angry and I can probably have a stable reaction to it now, then you go back to the situation. Then you address the situation. Something that also helps is if you are in the moment and you're getting angry, just start counting backwards and breathe with that. It's not like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's like, okay, 5. Okay, I'm getting angry. The identification of what makes you angry is actually the first step. Awareness. That's what awareness is.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
answering.
Thank you. Um, All right. Are all the cameras on? Can we please have a screenshot on the count of 3, 2, and 1? Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much. You've been a great audience. I think you can avail these sessions anywhere. These are online services. I also see, Munafji, please reach out to us separately. I don't think I'll be able to answer this question here. Aisha, that's it from my side. You can reach out to me on the website directly or anybody else that you wish to. We have counseling by 40 plus psychologists in different languages, all online. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kashish. I think the link that I shared doesn't have a clicking link, but anyway, thank you so much everyone for joining the World Mental Health Day special session on workplace mental wellness, and you've been amazing. And thank you, Kashish, for doing the session with us. Have a great
All my
evening
pleasure.
and have a great day.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.